Right, so a farm update on how things are going, because I'm going away in about a week's time, because I'm going to Germany to get a long-term visa. It's a kind of like a working for a voluntary basis, working for an NGO. So obviously I'm not getting paid or anything like that, but it's so cool to be able to get like a long-term visa, because it saved me a bunch of money, because I don't have to leave the country every 3 to 6 months because I'm on a tourist visa at the moment. And yeah, so everything's pretty good. Now I'm going to show you around. I'm just installing today a extra kind of watering system, because this lady's going to look after the plants for about a month while I'm away. And I just want to show you how I kind of left it. So let's take a look. Right, this area behind me is covered in a thick layer of mulch like that. Now it's pretty fresh composting material, and I don't tend to plant anything in there, but I do want to cover this, and this is a good tip if you're ever doing that kind of mulching with freshish compost. What I'm doing is I planted some pumpkins around the area, and I also have here an area which you can't see because it's not in the clip. I'll just show you now quickly. And basically in those pots I have some ash gourd, and I'm going to get the lady to plant them all in the center, and they're going to spread out over the top of the compost. And then of course it retains a lot of the moisture, and pumpkins and melons and all those kind of things, they don't mind kind of that freshish compost. They seem to grow really well. Like you can see that pumpkin, I don't know if you can see that pumpkin there by the banana, which is really happy. So that's a good tip, because I want to cover that compost. It'll mutually beneficially each other. I don't know how you say that. So basically the compost will break down much faster because it'll be in the shade, and of course I'm going to have a crop, and the crop is going to be really happy because it's going to get all those nutrients. Right, so behind me was the area where I had all those different things, if you remember in the climbing structure video, and basically everything grew just amazingly, but then it got overgrown with weeds, and I thought that, you know, not having watered it for about 2 weeks because it's so dry, I thought the rain would come back, but it hadn't. And then I started noticing that some of these leaves were getting discolored, so I started watering, of course. We weeded all this area, took out some of these taros and got some roots just to see how, like, at what age they would be. Planted it up with passion fruit, which is a lovely fruit tree as well. I have also got different fruit trees planted around the area since. And last but not least, I redid that whole area where I had the bottle gourd and the beans, which really produced a really good crop, if you remember. And I just made another mound reusing the kind of, so a different kind of soil, and just planted it all up again with a type of cucumber and also beans. And this is like a bean that makes like really fat beans like that, about that long. And I can't wait until I come back and see how they actually climb up there. Just gonna be really exciting. So that's pretty much it of this area. The sweet potatoes are going to recover and just take over the place, because literally a small twig, sprig like that, it just, within a month or two, it just covers like a massive area. So that's the plan there. Right, next to the mulching bed, we have a whole bed, of course, as you may have seen already in the updated version of my experiment with the green stalk planter. If I haven't uploaded that video yet, you'll surely see it soon. And basically these are doing just fabulous. This is of course an old Kerala variety of eggplant. Literally translated from the Kerala language, it's called apple eggplant. So it's doing pretty well. Can't wait to see how that does when I get back. It's gonna be giant. It's gonna be great. Oh yeah, by the way, there's one more thing I need to mention. I don't know if I actually said it already in the video, is that I won't be able to answer your emails. If you have questions on any of my videos, I will be uploading, of course, videos automatically to YouTube that you will be seeing, but I won't be able to actually answer them. So I have a couple of videos that are lined up for you at home, so that you can just view those as well while I'm away. Right, so you get the idea that this is pretty much a thrown together video, and I'm kind of running through things really quickly because I'm really busy today. So what I have here behind me is I have a row of onions there, which is doing pretty good. Then I have a row of cabbages, which are actually cauliflowers, which had a type of mustard. It could also be rapeseed. that I kind of had as a nursing plant. They need water badly, by the way. And what I did then is they actually grew really high, protected the smaller, slower growing cauliflowers. And now that I've weeded them out and I've taken most of that for food away, and now I'm really surprised how well those cauliflowers are growing. So it's just during the kind of monsoon rain, you get like a really heavy splash up, and this kind of protected them really well in that period of time. So that's just another tip on how to kind of work things together that you get a good successful outcome, I guess. Yeah, so that's it. And then I have mung beans planted in between all the rows. I don't know if you can see it over there under that kind of sheeting there. That's also rows with a lot of compost in there. And the reason I've done that is to protect it from the heavy monsoon rain, that the rain would wash out all the nutrients. And in there, the plan is to stick in some tomatoes once they get a bit bigger and just put them in there as well. So that's what's happening here. Behind me here we have the really famous Madeira chili. As you can see, there's going to be a vast improvement on the quantity of crop I'm going to have. The idea is always to, you know, get a population going with about 10 plants, and then when you have enough seeds, expand on that, and that's what I'm doing here. So eventually I'll have more seeds of a really good chili variety that grows really well in the shade and produces an abundance of chilies. Like literally, I'm harvesting now for the last 3 months, again and again and again and again, more and more chilies. Really impressed with this one. One of the best crops I have here. Now this then is a kind of type of sheet mulching where I've put on lots of mulch thick enough that the soil underneath doesn't dry out. And the idea being is that I can just planted garlic, one row of onion that's going to go to seed. I'm just trying out onions here in the tropic. I bought those in the shop, selected the best 15 or so, and just wanted to kind of get a head start because my other onions are starting to grow. I just wanted to see how well do they actually grow in this kind of hot climate. How well do they go to seed, because you of course get stem rot if you have a wet climate with onions. So only time will tell. I also, by the way, this is very interesting information, I put the garlic in a fridge for about 6 weeks before I planted them, because garlic does not, it needs a kind of a cold spell and will not actually make bulbs. It'll make plants, but it won't make bulbs if it doesn't get a cold spell, and we don't get cold spells here, so that's the reason I put it actually into the fridge. Here we have the tomatoes that are going to go into under that sheeting of those bags, and then a whole area of cucumber and also ash gourd starting. This is kind of the idea of kind of covering the mulch. What I was telling you earlier really is working well, and they're just covering the whole area of mulch. So I'm going to do that in a bigger scale over there. Now I'm growing these let me just get one. These cucumbers, and they are the Indian yellow cucumbers. And this one is now ripe to actually take the seeds out. Sometimes you can actually let them really kind of almost decompose and then get the seeds. So they ferment a little bit. But this is already ripe enough for me to collect seeds. So that's what's going on here. So here then we have the tapioca, which you probably will see in one of my videos, or if you have already, of me showing you how to kind of grow the tapioca. And the idea with the tapioca is to let it grow really tall, and then after 6 months take off all the bottom leaves, plant some beans that can climb up it, maybe support them with some ropes as well so they don't fall over. And that's just a little experiment that I want to do now in the next while to see how that grows. This is amaranth, and this comes from, again, crop improvement is one of the top priorities. And what I did is, this is now the second generation here on this land, and what we did is select the best 15 out of about 200 plants, and that's why a lot of these are doing so well. And again, I'm going to down select and just trying to get all the ones that are really, really red. Some of them have still a little bit of green in them, so I'm going to take them out for food. Behind me you shall see a whole bed of potatoes that I'm trying out here in the tropics. Also doing that, of course, in the really dry time now, so we don't get any blight. Also with the tomatoes, we don't get any blight. Hopefully, also then in the background we have a giant watermelon from Florida, similar to kind of climate, so I'm hoping that will work. don't know if you can see the chilies in the background, they're still going for it. And then I have like lots of beds put to rest with mulching, but also some kind of salady type crops growing as well, which is like Malabar spinach and other ones that they all just call here chira. They call everything chira here, which means spinach. And so you have all the amaranthus, the Malabar spinaches, and all the other green leafy stuff that I haven't found out what they are, by the way, yet. But they're edible, and so I planted them up as well. Now, I'm gonna stop now because I can show you way more plants and way more areas. But I thought I'll show you now the watering system and just to see what that kind of looks like as well. So this is also something I've just spent some of your money on, and I'll show you the drying shelves later on in the video. But what I did is I had about 40-50 meters connected to the pump inside, which is connected to the well, and I found dragging 40-50 meters around the garden trying to water everything just too much of a burden, and also was damaging plants and getting in the way. So what I decided to do is split it up into zones around the garden, and thereby I have now 3 hoses with these kind of connector taps that I can kind of switch on and off as I kind of water different areas of the garden. And the other reason I'm doing that is because the well has 1,000 litre water holding capacity. Once that's gone, it takes about 20 minutes or so for it to fill up, and it takes about 30 minutes for it to actually empty. So I can actually do, especially in this kind of dry, hot time, the next 3 months are going to be so hot, I can actually water the entire garden just throughout the day, doing different zones, if that makes sense. So that's it. I can turn on this tap here and close other taps, and that's how that works. Now I wanted to also show you how I'm joining all those connections together, because I don't have a blowtorch, but this technique really works well if you're stuck. And it's very simple. Some newspaper, some matches, bucket of water, and put out the kind of burning fire, especially if you're in a really dry, hot country. And it's as simple as getting your newspaper to light, stick that in there, get that burning a little bit, and then it's just very easy. You just go around that for about 5-6 seconds, and that's it. Get out, and then just twist it on. And it just goes really nice, making sure you're going in the right direction, as this would open otherwise. And that's it. I just have to put on my Jubilee clip. Now if I hadn't done that, it wouldn't have actually gotten even onto the actual pipe, metal pipe. So this actually worked really well. And then the Jubilee clip, of course, as most of you know, it just kind of holds it nicely in place and tightens it a bit extra and giving that extra support so that no water can actually escape. Because the worst thing that you want to avoid is not only water escaping, but also air getting into the pipes. Otherwise you have to bleed the whole motor, the pump motor again. And that's it. Now I don't know if you can see, you can't probably see the whole entire unit because it's not in the shot, but this is a kind of a unit whereby it's pretty much protected against mice or anything that would get in through the holes at the top that I hidden here for ventilation. And the best thing about this is it's got a roof on it, so you can actually stick it outside, even a lock gap thingy. It's got like doors with magnetic thingies, I don't know what you call them. And you can basically close the door really easily. Now I've been drying some of these seeds and then are ready to be put into bags. Some I have already put in bags already. If there's anything I could find. And the way it's working is very simple. You have these drawers. So it's a really joy to work with. Very easy, very simple design. And it really works great. So I think every seed saver and a seed saver should have one of these, because it's just, you know, it saves space and you can just kind of, you know, put in as many trays as you want. I mean, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lats here that you can actually place your trays in. I think they're called lats, I'm not sure. Okay, so that's it. Yeah, so it's money well spent, really happy about it, and it's so useful, because I was literally drying everything on these on these things here, and mice kept coming in through the ventilation holes, and they just kept eating all the seeds. So this has been the big solution and a big improvement as well. This concludes the video. Hope you enjoyed it, and last but not least, I wanted to kind of just show you the ash squads now coming to an end. Also, this is the garden experiment that I'm doing with a friend of mine. Actually, she is very good in developing scientific studies, and she's been a great help. Her name is Chandra, really good friend of mine from Ireland, and she just came over for holidays, and she's staying actually for like 3-4 months, so we can really do this garden experiment really well. And another friend of mine has a microscope, and we're going to look at the soil life through that, which will be in later videos. And that will be also, of course, in later videos as well. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed this update. As always, thanks for watching. Perhaps I see you in the next video.
Chocolate seeds.
अच्छा मैरीगोल्ड किसको चाहिए फूल
और if they have